Brought to you by...
I have always loved a good vigilante justice story, especially ones where there is no real inciting incident that forces the character down the road of revenge, taking it out on all criminals. There is something about this idea that just resonates with me. With all the crimes that go unpunished in the world, I can't help but be surprised that more people don't seek out a path of taking justice into their own hands. Not that I'm saying anyone watching should go do that. Hello friends, and welcome back to another Last Action review. I'm Oliver Buckley, and today we set the criminal underworld ablaze with 1980's Robert Ginty revenge vehicle, the Exterminator.
The Exterminator, the man they pushed too far.
The Exterminator was directed by James Glickenhaus, who also wrote the screenplay. The film was inspired by the success of vigilante-themed movies from the 1970s, such as Death Wish and Dirty Harry.
Blow your head clean off.
However, it's also said that the film may have been inspired by the very real-life murder of a close friend of Glickenhaus. Glickenhaus wanted to create a film that would tap into the public's fascination with crime and punishment. He was also influenced by the urban decay and rising crime rates in New York City during the 70s and 80s. The film was produced by Mark Buntzman, who had previously worked with Glickenhaus on the film The Astrologer. The film was shot on location in New York City, with many scenes filmed in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood. The budget for the film was around $2.5 million. The film took on a gritty, realistic look that captures the gritty feel of New York City in the 70s. The film was shot using a variety of techniques, including handheld camera work and fast-paced editing, which helped create a sense of urgency and tension. The film also features a number of violent and graphic sequences, which add to its overall intensity. The depiction of New York is one of the film's standout aspects, taking place during a period of significant social and economic change. The film portrays a city plagued by crime, poverty, and urban decay, with the vigilante figure of John Eastland serving as a symbol of the frustration and anger felt by many at the time. In this sense, the film can be seen as a reflection of the societal and political tensions of the era. The film's graphic violence was a source of controversy upon its release, with some critics accusing it of being gratuitous and exploitative. However, others defended the film's use of violence as a necessary element of its depiction of vigilantism. Indeed, the film's portrayal of Eastland as a brutal and uncompromising figure who is willing to take the law into his own hands reflects a growing sense of disillusionment with the effectiveness of the criminal justice system at the time. Despite its mixed reception, The Exterminator has endured as a classic and has influenced a number of subsequent films in the vigilante genre. The film's success led to the production of a sequel, Exterminator 2, in 1984. However, the sequel was not as well received, and failed to capture the same level of attention for the audience. The character of John Eastland, played by Robert Ginty, can be seen as a classic example of the vigilante hero archetype. Eastland is a Vietnam veteran who becomes disillusioned with society and the criminal justice system after his friend is attacked by a street gang. He then embarks on a violent campaign of vigilante justice, targeting criminals and drug dealers. Eastland's actions can be seen as a manifestation of a deep sense of anger and frustration with the world around him, and his vigilante persona allows him to feel in control of his life and surroundings. The film's portrayal of Eastland's psychology is complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, his action can be seen as a response to trauma and social dislocation. As a veteran of the Vietnam War, Eastland has experienced firsthand the brutality of violence and the chaos of war. His experiences have left him deeply scarred and disillusioned with society, and his actions as a vigilante can be seen as a way of asserting control and seeking revenge against those who have wronged him. At the same time, Eastland's actions can also be seen as a manifestation of a more generalized sense of anxiety and fear about the world. The film is set during a period of social and economic upheaval in New York. As I said, with rising crimes and urban decay contributing to a sense of unease and uncertainty. Eastland's vigilante actions can be seen as a response to this broader sense of fear and anxiety, with his violent actions serving as a way to assert control over a world that seems increasingly chaotic and unpredictable. The film delves into the psychological transformation of this protagonist. Eastland's experiences in Vietnam serve as a psychological foundation for his character. The film opens with a harrowing scene of Eastland and his friend, Michael Jefferson, being captured and tortured by the Viet Cong. This tragic experience, combined with the lack of support for veterans returning home, leaves Eastland scarred and disillusioned. The war has instilled in him a sense of justice that is inseparable from violence, a theme that is central to his transformation into the Exterminator. The catalyst for Eastland's turn to vigilantism is the brutal attack on his friend Michael by a lowly gang in New York, which leaves him paralyzed. The events trigger Eastland's psychological descent as he feels compelled to exact justice on those who harmed his friend. This decision to take the law into his own hands can be seen as a manifestation of his unresolved anger and trauma from the war, coupled with the helplessness he feels in a society that seems indifferent to crime and suffering. Eastland's actions are driven by a sense of moral righteousness, but they are also fueled by a deep-seated need to rein control in on a world that has left him powerless. His methodical approach to targeting those who he perceives as beyond the reach of the law reflects a belief that violence is the only way to restore order. This mindset is a direct result of his experiences in Vietnam, where survival often depends on his ability to exert power over others. The film also critiques the social conditions of the time, portraying New York as a place of rampant crime, corruption, and decay. The failures of the police and the justice system are highlighted, suggesting that Eastland's actions are in part a response to the impotence of the authorities. His transformation into the vigilante is not just a personal journey, but a reaction to a broader societal breakdown. In this context, Eastland's violence is portrayed as both a symptom and a response to the chaos around him. The film raises questions about the legitimacy of vigilante justice in a society that has seemingly lost its moral compass. It suggests that when institutions fail, individuals may feel justified in taking extreme measures to protect themselves and those they care about. As the film progresses, Eastland becomes increasingly desensitized to violence. His killings become more brutal, and his moral ambiguity deepens. This dehumanization is a key psychological theme, reflecting the toll that his actions take on his psyche. By the end of the film, Eastland is almost unrecognizable as the man he once was, consumed by the very violence he set out to combat. This transformation raises important questions about the psychological cost of vengeance and the cycle of violence. The film suggests that his quest for justice ultimately leads to his own moral and psychological breakdown, blurring the line between hero and villain. The exploitation era of cinema refers to a period in around the 60s, 70s, and some of the 80s, when low-budget, independently produced films with sensational and controversial subject matter were very popular. These films often featured graphic violence, sex, and other taboo themes, and were marketed to audiences looking for edgier, more provocative entertainment. The Exterminator is a quintessential example of an exploitation film. Its subject matter, which include vigilante justice, revenge, and graphic violence, was considered controversial at the time and generated significant buzz and controversy. The film's marketing campaign also played up these themes, with ads featuring taglines like,
"The Exterminator. In a city where everyone's a victim, he's the only hope they've got."
The film's use of violence and gore is also a hallmark of exploitation cinema. The Exterminator features a number of graphic and gratuitous scenes, including one in which a criminal is forced into a meat grinder, and another in which a victim is burned alive. These scenes are designed to shock and titillate audiences, and are characteristics of the shock value that was a hallmark of exploitation cinema. In addition to its use of violence, The Exterminator also features elements of sexploitation, including scenes of nudity and sexual violence. These scenes are often gratuitous and serve the narrative little purpose, but they were included to appeal to audiences looking for more provocative and explicit entertainment. The Exterminator is a fun and kick-ass revenge film. Robert Ginty is one of those absolute gem actors from the exploitation era. I fucking love watching his movies. They're just somehow so cheesy and so entertaining all at the same time. Well, friends, that's gonna be all for now. If you enjoyed this video, then I urge you to check out this film for yourself. I've put a link down in the description on where you can get a copy for your collection. Subscribe to the main channel for more content if you aren't already. Until the next one, stay safe, keep kicking ass, and as always, thanks for watching.